Today we're going to be rounding up the biggest highlights so far from the COP26 conference. If you didn't already know, COP26 is a global United Nations summit about climate change and how different countries are planning to tackle it. World leaders and activists have travelled all across the globe to meet and discuss the key aspects of the fight against global warming. In just a day, we've seen some earth-changing pledges coming from Glasgow. Here are a few. More than 100 world leaders have promised to end and reverse deforestation by 2030 in COP26's first major deal. Brazil, where stretches of the Amazon rainforest have been cut down, was among the signatories on Tuesday. The pledge includes almost £14 billion of public and private funds. Experts welcomed the move but warned a previous deal in 2014 had failed to slow deforestation at all, and commitments needed to be delivered on. The countries who have signed the pledge include Canada, Brazil, Russia, China, Indonesia, the Democratic Republic of Congo, the US and the UK, and they cover around 85% of the world's forests. Some of the funding will go to developing countries to restore damaged land, tackle wildfires and support indigenous communities. What makes this such a huge deal is how much falling trees contributes to climate change. They deplete forests that absorb vast amounts of the warming gas CO2 and remove sanctuary for animals. It's also very positive that it will try and reinforce the role of indigenous people in protecting their trees. Studies have shown that protecting the rights of native communities is one of the best ways of saving forested lands. Next up, we have Jeff Bezos pledging $2 billion for restoring nature. Jeffrey Bezos has said that he plans to use money from the Bezos Earth Fund to restore landscapes and transform food systems. He said, "In too many parts of the world, nature is already flipping from a carbon sink to a carbon source." The billionaire said that the experience of travelling on his rocket ship showed him Earth's vulnerability. "I was told that seeing the Earth from space changes the lens from which you view the world, but I was not prepared for just how much that would be true," he said. "Looking back at Earth from up there, the atmosphere seems so thin, the world so finite and fragile. Now, in this critical year and what we all know is the decisive decade, we must all stand together and protect our world." In September, the Bezos Earth Fund pledged $1 billion towards conserving nature and indigenous people and cultures. Announcing the follow-up $2 billion pledge on Tuesday, Mr. Bezos said that 2/3 of Africa's productive land was degraded, but this could be reversed. Finally, India's Prime Minister vows to cut his nation's emissions to net zero by 2070. This has been fairly controversial, as it's missing a key goal of the COP26 summit for countries to commit to reach that target by 2050. However, this is the first time India has set a net zero target at the Glasgow summit. India is the world's fourth biggest emitter of carbon dioxide after China, the US and the EU. But its huge populations means that emissions per capita are much lower than other major world economies. Mr. Modi made the pledge of one of the 5 commitments from his country. They include a promise for India to get 50% of its energy from renewable sources by 2030, and by the same year to reduce total projected carbon emissions by 1 billion tonnes. As I'm sure you can't, we can't wait to see what other beneficial pledges and agreements countries and leaders come up with over the next week, hopefully all leading to a cleaner future for all. Follow us to stay updated on all the latest COP26 and energy news, and we'll see you next time.